Have you heard? It's truck news.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel, electricity, and on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your host, Holman.
This episode of the Truck Show podcast, Have You Heard?, is proudly presented by Nissan. Nissan has the right truck or family hauler for your needs, along with legendary Nissan durability. Test drive a Frontier or Armada at a local dealer today, or point your browser to nissanusa.com, where you can use the build and price tool to configure a Nissan that fits your lifestyle. AMSOIL launched the industry's first synthetic motor oil back in 1972, and AMSOIL continues to innovate with a wide selection of synthetics that are formulated, blended, and packaged right here in the United States. These specialized lubricants are engineered for what you drive and how you drive. AMSOIL's Shop by Vehicle tool offers package size recommendations to maximize savings and includes AMSOIL's Ultimate Oil Change Kits. AMSOIL offers the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Get yours today at AMSOIL.com. The perfect complement to your truck is a Kershaw knife. All Kershaw knives come with a limited lifetime warranty, and repair parts are readily available through the website. Kershaw knives include lifetime sharpening, and the lineup has everything from EDC knives that can be used and abused for under $50, all the way up to high-end collectibles. Thanks to our generous partnership with Kershaw Knives, Truck Show podcast listeners can get 40% off MSRP and free shipping over $50 by using the code 25TSP40 at checkout. It can be used more than once and even includes automatics. Visit kershaw.kaiusa.com today. When it comes to amazing vehicle-based adventure content, how-tos, and great storytelling, only one brand is doing it right in the print magazine space, and that's OVR, Outdoor Vehicle Recreation. OVR is about getting out there in our vehicles to explore and discover the world around us. Get complimentary access for a year to the digital library or a discount on your print subscription today at OVRmag.com. Use the promotional code at Truck Show Podcast. Have you heard? Well, that's a no. If you're a fan of Cummins, and yes, the G is silent, you may be interested to know that they just launched their very first gas-powered engine. So Cummins has been synonymous with diesel technology, although they have other technologies they've been working on. And the new B6.7 octane, which is based on the six-cylinder platform, is intended for medium-duty trucks. And apparently development began several years ago, but now it's launching and makes up to 300 horsepower and 660 pound-feet of torque. Lower outputs are down in the 200 horsepower range with 600 pound-feet of torque, and the torque peak is a little bit higher than what you'd see in the 6.7-liter diesel. Cummins designed the new engine to run on 87 octane, and they wanted it to have diesel-like performance and reliability without any of the dreaded emissions add-ons like DEF and all that. So Cummins says that the new engine is both CARB and EPA compliant for 2027. And it says fuel economy, while not mentioned in the post that I read, did claim that it would be about 10% better versus a comparable gas engine. So the new engine will launch in Kenworth in their class 5 to 7 trucks. That's the T180 to T480s. It'll be primarily used for, I guess they'd call them straight trucks versus a tractor-trailer type setup, but I'm sure they'll find other uses for the engine. So a little bit interesting there with our friends over at Cummins. And also kind of fun to note, Cummins just came out with a brand new podcast. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but friend of the show, Stephanie Ortega, sent me a link, and it's called Power Onward. And if you want to find this Cummins podcast, basically has a bunch of short interviews with employees and things like that, so that could be cool. All right, moving right along. Ford Explorer fans might be excited to find out that Ford is taking the Explorer lineup a little bit more off-road as they dropped a hint for the Ford Explorer Tremor. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually do with that. There's not a lot of information on it. It'll definitely be more of a trail version than a Raptor version if you look at the rest of the vehicles in the Tremor lineup. What I'm kind of curious is Ford has yet to offer a 2-speed transfer case in the current Explorer, which switched to a rear-wheel drive platform this generation. And I remember talking to Ford engineers, and they had hinted that something like that would be coming. So I would be excited to see if the Tremor comes with a 2-speed transfer case and maybe goes after the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Seems like it would be a natural competitor in that space, especially since both vehicles are around the same size. So I guess we'll find out more later in the year because apparently this is going to be a 2026 model. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety published its 2025 Top Safety Pick Plus, and only one truck made the list, and that's the Toyota Tundra Crew Cab. And they also listed their 2025 Top Safety Pick, and the only pickup truck on that one is the Rivian R1T, which I think we've seen how tough that truck is with hitting barriers and stuff like that in the past. So in order to get the new Top Safety Pick or Top Safety Pick Plus awards, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, or the IIHS, is requiring that automakers have better protection for the second row passengers, and that's through advanced seatbelt technology and other safety innovations. And as a result, only 48 models qualified for 2025, compared with 71 last year. Of this year's winners, according to IIHS, 36 earned Top Safety Pick Plus and 12 earned Top Safety Pick. So looks like they moved the goalpost, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but those are the only two trucks that get the Insurance Institute's highest rating. So in a little bit of surprising news, a mineral gray metallic SRT10, so not the Viper Red, but this would be the regular cab, manual transmission version with the tonneau, with the wing on it. As you know, recently went on a Ram drive, which we'll talk about next week, where I got to tow one of those on the trailers, and it brought back a whole bunch of memories of just all the things I love about that truck. This is a 13,000-mile example, 2006 Ram SRT10, and it was on Bring a Trailer. It was previously listed back in 2021, and it was purchased by the seller's uncle in 2021, and it went back up for sale on March 17th. This looks like a really clean example. It's a great-looking truck. It's the later model, so it has the updated front end and dash and all that stuff. 13,000 miles, Viper V10. Oh, just seeing the interior pictures brings back the memories. There's a smell about that interior, and if you're a Ram owner of that era, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this is the 8.3-liter V10, and it was rated at 500 horsepower and 525 pound-feet of torque. Has the Bilsteins on it with the kicker shock on the Dana 60. And the original window sticker price was $51,440 back in 2006, which is pretty cool that they had that. So what do you think it went for at auction? And the going price after auction, $40,750. I mean, I'm looking at that going, I almost could have afforded that. These things have been going up in price, and that doesn't sound like a horrible price to me. And while it's not the crazy red that you'd probably want this truck in, it's a great-looking truck. So there you go. If you're looking for a Viper V10 truck with under 15,000 miles, expect to pay about $40,000, and that is about $10,000 less than it was new. And I'm guaranteeing you guys, those prices aren't going to be like that forever because people are getting smart to this truck, and it's still relatively affordable. I've seen a few where the price kind of surprised me, and honestly, I think that if you ever wanted one of those trucks, now's the time to get it. I think we mentioned it a little bit before, but Ram was bringing back the Tradesman, or bringing the Tradesman to the new DT 1500. Of course, you could get it on the heavy duties, and also the Warlock. And so some pictures have started to emerge from the internet showing what a 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman would look like. And they're sitting at dealers. One of the pictures has giant tow mirrors, which I don't think match the truck. But there's a really nice wheel and tire package and body-colored bumper, grill, hood, just like on the old DS truck. And it looks great. I think if you want a good-looking truck at a really affordable price, then the Tradesman's worth having. I've got some comments on the heavy-duty Tradesman that I'll bring up in the next episode with my Ram reviews. But it looks like both the Warlock off-road truck, the Tradesman and the Tradesman Night Edition are kind of going to fill up the bottom end of Ram's lineup. So you'll have choices if you're looking to get a sub $50,000 Ram. Tim Kuniskis is really interested in having offerings that cater to people on a budget. In fact, he was quoted as saying, "We see an opportunity to grow Ram in this space." So anyway, if you've got less than 50 grand and you want a new Ram 1500, looks like you got a couple options to choose from, and they look pretty good. So spy photos have started to emerge of the next generation Chevy Silverado, which will be coming out as a 2027 model. And this truck will be built on the T1-2 platform, and T1 is the current architecture, so -2, I guess you could think of it as version 2. And when T1 came out, they basically knew that they wanted this platform to underpin the trucks for a while now. So the spy photos seem to show an instrument panel that is similar to the Cadillacs, where it's like half the dashboard wide, rather than having two separate displays like the truck does today. So it'll be interesting to see if GM finally goes all in on the screens for the trucks. It looks like it probably is. It's probably not the same as the 33-inch curved LED that's in the Cadillacs, but it looks like some sort of version of that. But it's hard to tell because on the spy photos, the interior camouflage is kind of folded back and there's different segments. So you can't see if it's two screens, one screen, any of that kind of stuff. So a couple other things that are coming to light. The 2027 will have the 6th generation small block, which GM confirmed a while ago, and we talked about a little bit on the show. And GM says that's going to be about 4 to 6% improvement in efficiency over the 22 and a half model years. And turbocharged 4-cylinder Turbomax and the turbo diesel, the 3-liter Duramax, are expected to remain available. Additionally, plug-in hybrid should join those trucks. So if you like the new truck, I think you'll like the new truck. But GM's sticking with V8s and adding a bunch of tech. I guess we'll know more later this year. Our friends over at TFL Truck had an interesting showdown. They took a 2025 Toyota Tundra twin-turbo V6, and then they took a last generation V8, and they did their Denver 100-mile-per-gallon loop, and they did everything exactly the same. So a 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 with 389 horsepower and 479 pound-foot of torque. That's the hybrid. It's got the 10-speed automatic, and they pitched it against the V8. And if you remember, the V8 was 381 horsepower, 401 pound-feet of torque, only had a 6-speed. And it was rated at, the V8 that is, was rated at 14 combined, 1317. And the new truck's rated at 20 combined, 1922. And they came out with their results. The V8 powered truck returned 18.9 miles per gallon on their loop, which is better than what the EPA estimate was. And the new truck was 22.6 miles per gallon, which is better than the EPA also, but a 4 mile per gallon improvement over the old truck. So people saying that the new truck isn't as efficient, well, here's a pretty scientific test that says you're wrong. So head on over to tfltruck.com and watch their video and read their story. Pretty interesting, especially if you're a Toyota guy or you are just curious about V8s versus turbocharged hybrid V6s. Speaking of next generation updates, the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer lineup will be getting its mid-cycle action, or MCA, also known as their mid-cycle refresh. And spy photos are starting to appear for that vehicle as well. So we know that the range-extending version, similar to the Ram Charger, because it's on the same platform as the Wagoneer, is coming to Wagoneer. So you get some electrification along with a onboard range extender. We also know that the twin-turbocharged 3-liter Hurricane will be the primary powertrain. And they'll be backed by the 8-speed automatic, so a 880 RE is coming, and it's supposed to have better performance, quicker, smoother shifts, all that kind of good stuff. And even though we heard rumors about Hemi possibly returning to the Ram 1500, there hasn't been any word whether it'll return to the Wagoneer or Grand Wagoneer. My guess is probably not, because I think the straight six services that market pretty well, unless they just need economies of scale. But I think if the company is working off CAFE and things like that, they probably don't want to put the V8s in everything if they're coming back. So we'll see. But I think it's safe to say the Jeep's going to keep the straight sixes in the Waggies. Then a couple other things the internet has said is that the Wagoneer Text is going to be removed from the grill, and it'll have a Jeep badge, so it'll finally be Jeep Wagoneer again and not some weird sub-brand by Jeep that they were trying to do, which I always thought was a mistake. And also the trim levels will be simplified because it's got weird with Series 1, 2, 3, and all the weird stuff they're doing. So apparently both the Grand Wagoneer and the Wagoneer will have normal Jeep trim walk, so limited, summit, things like that. So should be easier to figure out where you are in the trim, and you can just walk into a Jeep dealership and not be like, oh, wait, what's Wagoneer? So I think that's probably a pretty smart move on their part. So looking forward to it. I really like the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. They're great, and I've had nothing but really good experiences, both with the V8 and the straight six, and just super awesome and luxurious vehicles, and looking forward to seeing the new ones. And while we're at it with more Ram content, the new tungsten model of the Ram Charger, yes, that's what it's called, has been spotted out in Michigan. And it's the most luxurious version of the truck, and it looks pretty good. So I'm sure there'll be those buyers out there who want the range extender with all the luxury, all the tech, everything that Ram has up its sleeve. I'm guessing that's going to be their new halo for technology, the same way that RHO is halo for off-road performance, along with Power Wagon and the V8 TRX that might be coming. But this thing's going to be a technological tour de force, and it is one of those pickups that I am really interested in getting behind the wheel of. I know it's being treated as an EV, and that's not bad, but I love the fact that it's got the range extender on board. So super exciting. If you want to hear more, just a couple episodes ago, we walked through kind of everything with that truck that's known right now. All right, and last news story for this week involves a recall.
Check engine light just went on. Noise under the hood ticks like a bomb. Recall covers metal, glass, leather, and plastic. Door handle pulled off in my hand. Just fantastic.
And while door handles are not being pulled off in your hand, the Ineos Grenadier does have a recall because a faulty latch on the exterior door handles could cause the doors on the Grenadier to fly open automatically. Ineos put out a statement and said the door button mechanism may have been assembled without a sufficient application of grease. So that means that the button could stay in the depressed position even after closing the door, just because it gets hung up there. And then, obviously, that doesn't allow the latch to latch. So the company says that customers should be able to figure this issue out when they drive the vehicle, and continue to say, quote unquote, a visual warning will appear on the vehicle's head unit if the door is not fully closed. If the vehicle begins to move with the door still not fully closed, the message will turn red and display the word warning followed by audible alerts. So apparently this affects 7,022 Grenadiers produced between July 6th, 2023 and April 19th, 2024. And they did put a timeout on their sales so that they could get the ones on dealer lots fixed. And of course, dealers will have to replace the door button assembly to fix the problem. Recall notices go out to owners sometime between March 31st and May 4th. And then you can bring yours into the dealer to have them repaired at no cost. So, bummer for you Grenadier fans out there. Just make sure you double check your doors are shut before setting off on your next adventure. All right, well, that'll do it for this episode of Have You Heard? Don't forget, you can send us questions or info, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com, or you could follow us on social at Truck Show Podcast, or join the Pod Chat Insiders on the Facebook page. We look forward to seeing you guys next time.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis, hosted by Sean Holman, and uses production elements by DJ Omar Khan and Jay Tillis. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and leave us a 5-star review. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to support the show than by sharing it and patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.